All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful day. If you looked at the price action today, it seemed like it was a boring day, but do not be fooled. The stock market is about to get really volatile. So we have a lot of events this week. We talked about it yesterday and went over a lot of things, but even though the market didn't move today, a lot of people were asking, wait, why do we have to worry about that? But not only that, we even woke up to a bunch of crazy. We had big news out of the Israel war and the reaction with oil. Then you had a huge move out of China on not really that much info, especially considering the bombardment of stimulus news. And then you have crypto going crazy. And now on top of it, tomorrow, that is the start of the data and all of the big earnings. So we got a lot to talk about. I have the recap, I have the breakdown, the plays I made today, and all of the plays I'm looking at tomorrow. Even ECOLI token. I don't know if they know, but Chad, what I need from you, a thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open, youtube.com/the stock market. We will see you there in the morning, baby. Run it.
Walking to the couch, it's the 2020 election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Feel how I feel, then you feel it's a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
But right off the bat, I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm kind of excited. The markets are about to get crazy, and even following the election, whether it's contested or not, like we talked about yesterday, there is about to be a lot of opportunity. Do not get lulled into the pre-election moves, because after elections, any election, no matter who the president is, the markets and a lot of things like to move. So I hope you guys are ready for it, not to mention the end of the year, but now why this is such a big week. We talked about it yesterday. There's all these events, the jobs data, the earnings, and then the final week ahead of the election. But the real thing I want you guys to notice, it's something that we've been talking about for like a month and a half now. Remember the VIX. And if you go to the VIX futures, you'll see over the next 30 days or 30 days or so, all of the VIX futures are elevated. Even though it seems like the VIX didn't move much, the VIX futures and leading out into these next couple of weeks covering all these events, it is elevated, and the market is expecting something at bare minimum. We talked about what was priced in for the election. That's 2% in the next coming weeks. But if we get a lot of updates, surprises, and contestation and all of that other stuff, there could be so many things, not to mention all of the earnings surprises. But this is what I want you to realize. It is due to all of the events. We woke up to a lot of stuff this morning as well. But when it's all said and done, whether it was because of August 5th or what we've been dealing with the rate cuts and how the markets are trading, the VIX is elevated and people are kind of on edge and they have gotten protection. Now, obviously, we have seen more fear in the past. This isn't the most amount of fear, but it's definitely not like we were just a couple of months ago when the VIX was hitting new yearly lows and you were melting up and all everybody was talking about was the future of rate cuts and AI. So I hope you guys are ready for it. And like I said in the beginning, there's a lot of things to be excited about, especially if you are ready to see some moves, whether it's cyclical, economy, all that. So watch out for that and make sure you strap in for this week. But now coming into the second key, oh my gosh, did I not even show you the first key? I don't know if I shot. I told you, I'm just getting excited, man. But that was key number one, and key number two now, oil news. So this was massive. We talked about it in the attack yesterday, but by the time the futures opened up and all throughout the day, the markets took this as big news. So why did oil drop? Pretty much Israel struck Iran over the weekend, and they only hit military targets. They did not escalate by going after oil or civilian targets. Surprisingly, you've heard a lot about civilians, and this time they went only for the military Iranian targets. So the market took that as a de-escalation because it let Israel get their retaliation out of the way, and then it opens up the door for Iran to not respond as aggressively or at all. You add that to the fact that the leader of Hamas was killed just a couple of weeks ago. This is leading to this sentiment. Now, is the news big? I mean, yeah, and I do think it rightfully could bring oil down, but as we've seen with this situation, again, I just bought oil at this price like a month ago, so I'm even still up on it, believe it or not. It's like $1 above my break even, but the fact of the matter is, oil, this volatility, maybe even this war here, it could escalate or de-escalate, especially depending on how the election goes. So that was part of it, but the real big part was the price action. I think this was one of those excuses that oil can use to sell off, but if you get any bad news, this thing will be up 5%. But for now, that's a huge price move, and it has a lot of implications. So one, this move in oil can affect sentiment. Again, war sentiment leading into these next couple of weeks. It's dropping if things keep going this way, from the killing of Sinwar all the way down to this. If we don't see any escalation in tit for tat, that could help out the war sentiment a lot. The next thing is bonds. Again, oil moving the price of the dollar. This can have an impact on bonds, and there is a connection there. And even China, don't forget the reopening. And people were even trying to say, well, look at oil if you want to see if China's reopening or not. So it all kind of ties in. And that's why I'm saying if you see more signals out of oil, and depending on what we get, this is something you should pay attention to, whether it's the events, but simply the price action. And remember what I told you guys just last week. Don't forget, when it comes to rate cuts and all of this stuff, oil is the lifeblood. Whatever happens with rates in the economy is going to shift. Something will happen to oil, even if they're getting in the way of it or not. It doesn't matter. Oil is kind of tied to it. And like we've seen in other cycles, oil likes to make moves shortly before or shortly after something big really happens. So don't forget about it. So still keep an eye on that. But that was a very big deal today. And again, I think that's even part of why China went up, because again, oil went down and people could see that as bullish for them. But keep your eyes out for that. And then finally, lock in for the data tomorrow. We are going to be getting the JOLTS jobs openings. If the jobs openings are high and it looks like there's a lot of opportunity and more supply in the labor market, that will be bad. A low number the market will like, but is it going to affect equities? No. It is only going to affect bonds. Again, look at the rate cuts. Look at where bonds are at and equities at since it all happened. Bonds are the ones moving. Maybe dollar and gold, even gold actually, it has been very reactive to the economic data alongside bonds, but gold has just gone up. But the general idea and why you need to pay attention tomorrow, not only are you going to get to hear from bigger companies, I think it's 169 S&P companies, about 40% of the index is reporting, so we're going to get data there, but you're going to get JOLTS jobs openings, then private payrolls, then jobless claims, then non-farms. Right now, the 10-year is at like 4.28, and it got blown out. It hit another low ever since the rate cut. It just keeps going lower, aka yields. When I say low, TLT dropping, aka yields going higher. But what I'm saying here is that one of these data sets, JOLTS, jobless claims, who knows, maybe even pending home sales, but something between now and the non-farms, if it is bad enough and it's strong enough, that is probably going to send the 10-year above 4.5, and that's going to create an opportunity, and then be on the lookout if that volatility spills over into equities. But then if none of the data sets get us to 4.5, then the bond market just going to wait for the non-farm to make that move, and then after we get at 4 or 5, that's going to be the final test, because it either hits 4 or 5 and then kind of calms down. Otherwise, if you don't get stability at 4 or 5, just go look at the chart. You're going to be knocking at 5% really soon, and then some of the bond narratives may start changing, or people are going to start doubling down on Trump trade and worry about inflation and all of that, and then we'll see where the equities are. So pay attention to all of that, but either way, I don't think this week is going to disappoint with catalysts. But now, let us get into the plays. So, right off the bat, I only made a couple of plays today, and even the plays I'm looking at, I did give you a good list of earnings, and some of them already moved after the bell, but there will be opportunities with earnings, and I didn't think I wanted to play any of these mega caps, but Meta, I actually went with a play today, and it was simply because they had news. So Google was up on like a AI web browser today, and then like randomly middle of the day, they just started selling off a couple of dollars, and there was a headline that Meta was coming out with a rival search engine and that they wanted to make an AI search engine tool, and that clapped Google, but the whole market was kind of already selling off, especially the major tech stocks, and Meta was down. So I said, you know what? let me just grab one. When I go over the play, you'll see I didn't really like it, but I like that news. So ideally, I'm going to try to get one free before the event. We'll see how things go. I already got a little bit of a gain, but I really like the news. So am I looking at Meta for earnings play? If there is opportunity, the contracts have already moved. And again, even when you go shopping on the prices, you'll see, man, Meta, some of these strike prices are insane, but it is a big earnings. I mostly, though, like it for this news more so than the earnings, unless it makes a major move and these contracts die right before. So we still got a couple of days. We'll see how that plays out, but watch out for Meta. Then play number 2. This one is for post-earnings tomorrow. So I did make a play on Pfizer today, but Pfizer and McDonald's. I didn't go for the McDonald's one. Again, I would take a look at McDonald's, but the whole idea is that McDonald's moves pretty big following earnings. It just has a history of either going up or selling off, usually selling off, and then by the rest of the morning, it'll go. And then it's tied into all of this other news related to the drama. So if we get any future guidance, that'll be big. So I'm going to be watching for a post-earnings on McDonald's tomorrow morning, and then Pfizer, just keep an eye on it given all of the drama that they've been getting with Starboard and the activist investors. I was talking about it earlier today. If you go look at Disney and a couple of other names, usually when they have these activists starting to do this campaign, it leads the company to have good earnings so that they could kind of get these people off of their back, or they're going to make a pretty dramatic positive change. So hopefully Pfizer gets things going. I mean, it's been years since they've moved. If you really go look at the chart, again, that's why we added it as a value name for the long term. So we'll see where that takes us, but that could be a very pivotal one in the AM. And then the third and final play, man, crypto. So it went crazy today, again, alongside China, and there was a lot of other wild moves today. MSTR, that was the main crypto today, maybe besides ECOLI token. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But in general, the thing I want you to pay attention to, it's that liquidity catch up that we were talking about since the rate cuts in China. Anytime China has stimulated, anytime you have had rate cuts in the United States, it has usually led to an inflow of crypto. And after all of it, it's like crypto was elevated, but it didn't really move much. Again, like go even look at MSTR, and you can see how it traded, but lately it kind of just ballooned. Even these last 3 days, it kind of took off. So if that's catching up, there's a lot of momentum and movement in that space. So we'll see what happens. But other than that, though, I don't have any other plays. And then again, you're going to get Robinhood, who else? Coinbase, and I think MSTR is going to earn. So if there is good earnings, and then even other political stuff, if it does benefit crypto, that could also lead into it. But for now, just the liquidity alone, see if we get that catch up. It's something we've been talking about, but now you're starting to see it. And then the whole joke, the whole ECOLI. I told you guys I wanted to get a token ready. That's something I've been doing for another purpose with the stream. If we wanted to make something more exclusive, or if they force me off YouTube because you can't even find the Joe Rogan interview. But the whole idea was I wanted to get my experience with the token, so I made a meme coin, and I made ECOLI token. So it was fun on stream. Do not buy it. Not a recommendation. Be very careful. You can't even buy it. It's not like on an exchange or anything. This is pure just meme token on base, but we had some fun with it. It made some ripples. No, you can even say ripple? No, I don't even know. But the whole idea is, though, crypto, not only, I think even what I'm doing, I mean, there is a lot of meme activity and crypto's taking off, but in general, if this crypto hype continues broadly, I would keep an eye out for it, but keep in mind the real drivers, China and liquidity, and then again, more rate cuts on top of whatever happens with the politics. So that's all I have for you as far as the plays that I made today. I did grab those metas. So here's what I was saying with the play. I grabbed 2 of these 730s for next week. I wanted more time, but the whole point is, if you don't get a little amount of time, these contracts are ridiculous, and it is because Meta was just at $600, but a $700 contract seems so insane to me when I was looking at it. These seem so high, but I said, you know what? I like the news, and then I'll see if I can flip it. So I grabbed 2 at 55. They went up a little bit, but hopefully we could get out of those prior. Otherwise, it'll probably be the Mag 7 flush ahead of earnings. That's not uncommon, but be careful with that one. Then play number 2, Pfizer. I went with January 2026, 47.5 calls. I grabbed 2 of them, 17 cents. And why? Because I've had bad luck with Pfizer. I mean, I feel like maybe 6 months, a year ago, I hit a lot of good Pfizer plays. I made a couple of them free, but The last quarter, I took a couple of early ones. Did not really hit. I haven't been liking the chain, and like literally the stock just won't move. Obviously, it'll move on earnings, but I want to play even afterwards as well. So I said, hey, let's grab the leap. These would be more prone, or if, again, anything jumps and I did get left behind, I wouldn't regret it if I had time. So kept it small, and then that way I still have room to play the post earnings, but that was the only other play I made today. And then I'm still in my oil and bond play, getting worked on the bonds. But I mean, if you've been following, we're most likely going to make that average at 4.5. So like I said, things could change if it goes past 4 or 5, but I'm pretty confident in that level unless there is any major data. But until we even get the president, or if you get the president and maybe even election day, if people want to really freak out, maybe it even goes 4 or 5 to 5, and then in 48 hours that will be our bottom. But other than that, I'm really confident in that level for many reasons. And like I said, even the upside from 4.5, can it go to 5? Yeah, but unless there's like a paradigm shift, I don't think it'll go much higher than 5, but we'll find out. That's why I said the duration risk is limited. But besides the bond play, that's tied to the 4-5 and the data and the events, and we'll see. But oil, I'm near my break even. That came back down. I was up like $1,000 on a small contract. Now I'm up like $20 or $40. But like I said, I got to like January on this play, and I just wanted to hold it. I kept it small from the beginning. That's why I didn't take profit and wanted to hold it just in case it went crazy. But this is a low price, so it's appetizing to get oil here. But keep in mind, I'm not holding a lot. I'm keeping it small because if we get this back and forth, like I said, I think the price movement was big today. The headline wasn't as big, but you can see a reversal depending on if there's more bad news. But other than that, you don't want to play the back and forth too big because then it gets more stressful. But in a small position, I think it's a great hedge, especially if we really get a final move, a breakout much lower or much higher on oil. So we'll see, but that is all that I did. I hope you guys are ready for tomorrow in the week. It should be a wild one, but Chad, that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. And I need you to remember, ask yourself, are you in the crowd throwing a rock up in the air? It hits you. It hits everybody. What can that relate to? Oh, man, that's a deep feel. That's a deep analogy. I don't know if they hear me, but Chad, God bless you all. Drink that water. Stay hydrated and healthy. I'll see you in the morning. Get a good rest and horn.